Hello, everyone. We are here today to, well, have an argument, basically. Mr. Capell.
Full and frank exchange of views. I think we're going to end up agreeing with each other, just hard and by a circumspect route.
Yeah.
But yeah, there might be some friction.
It's going to be one of those things where, yeah, but that's what I think as well.
Yeah, but I think it's slightly differently.
But I thought the same.
I thought it first, though.
Chronology might be a problem.
Sure.
Yeah, we've done a couple of videos. I did one that, fortunately or unfortunately, spurred this man on to make a response video.
48 minutes, no big deal.
It was immense and intense, and there was crotch shots, there was the lot, and I had to fire back, so I did, and then I challenged you to come here, and here he is. So we're doing this now. Yeah. So I might as well start Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, no, well, I think we were just trying to think, ultimately, even though I did a 48-minute response, it turned out that we actually agreed on most things, and that Andy just put his points across in a way that made out apparently like a slightly different thing. Anyway, but the only main one really, you look back and think, well, you know, is for some reason he's like defending Batman versus Superman.
There are many reasons,
and I'm trying to think like why I hated it so much, and I think it all just winds back really to how Superman got done in Man of Steel, which to an extent is irrelevant if you're just taking Batman vs Superman as it is on its own.
Yeah.
But given how it went in Man of Steel, I felt I was going into it and I just couldn't, and then they continued in the way they treated Superman. And I don't know, again, you agree with me on this?
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where, and it's because maybe I am wedded to the Christopher Reeve version and what Superman is.
Well, we grew up, we're of the same generation that grew up watching those on like videos and reruns on TV, and I, more than you, were into the comics of Superman as well, and reading them in the 90s, he was starting to get a bit darker, and he had a mullet at the time, and you know, that was happening. But you still had Superman on TV as we knew it to fall back on. You knew that was sort of the starting point, and wherever he might have been in the comics, as far as I was concerned, was like, shit must be really kicking off if Superman's doing this kind of thing, because he's normally like Christopher Reeve over there, you know.
Well, yeah, but in comics, you've got like years and years and years of them having to keep stuff fresh and keep going back to the well. With film's a different thing. So rather than it being about our expectations of how that film should have been, it's like how it becomes then a bigger idea of how should a Superman be presented over different decades in a film format, in his most popularised format, seen by the most amount of people, and it's the kids. I'm worried about the kids. It's genuine.
Oh, the children.
Genuinely livid that this is the Superman they have to look up to, who does all these terrible things.
The thing, don't take this as a defence of Man of Steel or anything, but I know what they were going for, and it was how would the world treat Superman if he just appeared.
All for that.
And they went, and as far as everything surrounding Henry Cavill seemed pretty reasonable or realistic even, but then there was Henry Cavill himself that was quite clearly directed to be like all the time, all the way through it, and like there was elements, like I said in my video, where for instance he quite happily walked around with the things on, and then there was that moment where he was explaining that his S meant hope.
Yeah.
You know, they did that cheesy thing where they said, we're never going to mention Superman, so she goes, what about, and someone interrupts.
We can't mention Superman, because that's
but,
not cool.
It was then that moment where he just starts talking to him directly because he can see them, and then he just sort of gets up casually and his handcuffs break, and he just walks over and says, look, you know, General, blah, 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 you know, and it was just like, he had that attitude, and I hesitate to use the word swagger, because Christopher Reeve didn't really
no, it's this tangible thing, and that was probably the only moment where really got that sense of
exactly
he is Superman.
And I'm pretty sure that if he was given more opportunity to have that thing,
definitely,
I'm pretty sure that exact moment that happens in that film is why he got the fucking job in the first place as Superman, because he has that charm and that stature cut sort of thing. And then at the end, as I said before, he takes down the drone and he sits there and he goes like, look, you're gonna have to trust me, General, because I'm here and I'm on your side. You can't tag me, so what the hell are you gonna do?
Could he have set that drone down nice? He'd have to like knock it out of the sky. But he's no edgy Superman. But that's a minor thing. That's a minor thing.
I do agree with you though, that is a weird thing that they've started to make him reckless for some reason.
Just astonishingly reckless.
Exactly. That's what I hated about Man of Steel the most, was the huge,
carnage.
gratuitous destruction of Metropolis right at the end of the film.
Yeah.
There was no need for that. In any iteration of Superman that has ever come before it, he would have took that guy into space or somewhere
Well, he did
completely.
take him into space. They just punched him back down again. He did it. He took him into space because it looked cool.
Yeah,
But the problem is with this
yeah.
Man of Steel thing is, again, we've seen him fight Zod before.
Yeah.
And we saw what happened.
Yeah.
As soon as it became clear to Superman that he couldn't beat these three people fighting in Metropolis, that people were getting hurt, he was like, he ran away. And he ran away, and he looked like a coward to the people. Like, where's Superman going? But he did it to get Zod and them away from them. His first concern.
Exactly, yeah.
And that is what was missing. But even that, and then this is like kind of defense people would like use for Man of Steel is that, oh, he's not quite the finished Superman yet.
Yeah.
I'm sort of on board with that, but then it was just the bit where he killed Zod, and reading about how easily the writer. So there's this thing that the writer said he had to convince the people at the studio about that.
Really?
And he did it in like the most simplistic way. He just said, well, you know, he's Superman's faced with a choice where he either keeps on fighting like this and let more people die, or he breaks his neck. And then the studio were like, oh yeah, okay, you've sold it to us. Honestly, I think it's as simple as that.
Easy.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
Because of that thing I said in my response video. Check it out. What's that? That happens in almost every superhero film. Did that make sense? That?
Yeah, it did. But if I was that executive, I would have needed just a little bit more.
I would have thought so. It's like and it was a. Not only was it a rubbish choice where he's got literally Zod's got his eye beams pointing towards a family and Superman's holding his head in check.
Yeah.
We know that Superman could just pick him up, push his face like that, and then take him up through the roof and fight somewhere else. It wasn't a good enough horrible choice in the first place, and for him to just break his neck, it's just not good enough.
No, I understand, and also this.
What was that bit? Yo, yeah, Zod could just gone. You're dead.
You just look at them. It's a
Superman
beam
could have poked his
directed
eyes
by
out.
his eyes. Why does it have to be coming straight out? I hate the fake tension.
Exactly,
thing that
it was
happens
fake, and then
in loads of movies.
And then Superman, after he's broken his neck, Superman like does a massive no cry, but he didn't try and sort of help Zod through any of the film.
No.
It wasn't like he was like, "Oh, my Kryptonian brother, let us build Krypton anew." In fact, he was on that ship as he destroyed Krypton's future with his eye beams. He said Krypton's had its chance. That's like a kind of genocidal. I don't understand that. That's not what Superman would do, and that's
I know.
So we're agreeing on this.
On Man of Steel entirely, because they weren't going the right way with it, and like I say, there was only glimpses and glimmers of it. One thing I will bring up though. The ending of Superman 2, the original Superman 2, he kills Zod in that as well.
He throws him down
he drops him down
a big
bottomless
hole.
pit when
it's
he
not
has
so much,
no power.
It's not so much the killing of him.
But
and I realise that is slightly...
Thing is, he didn't grab hold of his f***ing head and break his neck in front of... Can you imagine Margot Kidder and Gene Hackman's face if he'd just gone... like that and just...
Well, he didn't kill him, he just punted him down a hole. He
Yeah.
could have gone through
Well, he
like
broke his
a holding
hand.
cell. He crushed his hand. He goes, "Ah!" That was brilliant.
That noise...
That's a moment. That's a moment. And then you
That
think,
noise that Terence Stamp made was haunting as a child to me. But that was guttural. And then he picks him up and tosses him down the freaking thing.
tricked his hard.
That happens, and people forget that when they're going at Man of Steel. So I mean, Zod gets killed in both iterations,
You don't
but
see him get killed.
nowhere near as brutally as they did in Man of Steel.
I don't want to be one of these people who's
wanted to
like,
make that
no, that's
distinction.
fair enough. But you don't want to be one of these people who's like picking at, oh, his eyes did this and that. You're not as much picking at like. I'm not trying to pick at like little moments of logic because the whole thing's like a massive logical leap anyway.
Yeah.
It's just consistency within the.
In fact,
in this moment lacks like a feel good moment.
Yeah.
Like it's the difference between like Zod got thrown down that hole in Superman, but then Superman he throws him down. It's a fist pumping moment. Superman turns to Lex Luthor and goes, and then Lex Luthor's going, he tricked him. It was a challenge back out there, and he got him in here. But that's what you could have had. That's what you could have won. That's what we had as kids. And now what kids have got now is Superman breaking Zod's neck and then letting out a cry of anguish.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one.
Oh no!
Sorry,
I just
guys.
killed the last hope of my own.
So
planet.
So I've destroyed the future of Krypton. I broke my adversary's neck because I couldn't think of a better way of defeating him. Like we've seen Superman do before. Yeah. Like I said in my video, if you want this emo Superman and these like horrible moments, make your own ones. But don't expect anyone to go and see him because they won't. Because they're no fun. No one wants to be that. Surely, am I going? Am I losing it?
No, you're not. No.
But ultimately, they want to do that. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But don't try and convince me it's any good. I think that was the point. Which I don't think you are. You're not trying to convince me that Man of Steel is good.
Not in any way. There are moments I enjoyed, and a majority of it that I was just sort of. It's not that I didn't enjoy it as a film. It was just disappointing. It was deflating. In fact, is the word I was using. I should use rather, is because it was just like you say. You have an idea of what Superman is, and it's not just because of Christopher Reeve or the comic books or anything like that. Superman in pop culture in general represents like the good and the, you know, strive to be better kind of ideal, really, and they didn't exactly project that in Man of Steel. They projected it was just
forgettable. There was a big point now, because I went to see Wonder Woman recently, which I know you haven't seen yet, so no spoilers or anything.
Thank you.
I went into that sort of under duress, because I've been burned by Man of Steel, not physically, mentally and emotionally, by Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad, of being not for me, let's just say. And then, so I was like, well, you fooled me 3 times, I'm not going to go again on a punt. But I went, because my girlfriend was interested in seeing a female superhero. Why not? So I went in, and I was like, just sort of spellbound from the start. And then there's a bit in the middle where she's more Superman than Superman, basically. Yeah. She's a hero she's like an alien, effectively. The world that doesn't deserve her. She's just completely good. Yeah. The way she goes about it is the way that you'd want Superman to be, and it's the simplest thing. It's the simplest thing. There's points where people are telling her she can't do a certain thing because, in order to save the many, we have to let some people go. That's the basic thing. You can't deal with a small problem that is horrible because we don't have to see the bigger picture. Right. She says, "Screw you! I'm going to deal with that at any cost. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what it hurts. I'm saving these people." Yeah. And you think that's what Superman. So I'm getting towards the end of this film. I'm like, this is so amazing. Zack Snyder's going to be watching this, and he's going to be like being sick in his mouth because this is how you do Superman, and someone else is doing it better than him. Yeah. Get to the end, and it's the stories by Zack Snyder. Yeah. So what's all that about? How has this happened? He'll have come up with the beginning and the end, and someone will have wrote it. Yeah, I don't know how these things work. Like, I don't know. All I know is that he's set out the storyline of the entire DCU, apparently, in just blocks. Yeah, okay. He's not written everything. He's just the story is set out, and that's how he ended up with the Man of Steel job and the extended universe jobs, is because he came up with the idea, he pitched it, they went, good idea, we'll go with that. It seems that easy to convince Warner Brothers. I think me and you should have a meeting with them, because all we'll have to do is go, you're doing it wrong, and they'll go, oh, you're right. How about you direct every movie from here on in? You guys have got the right idea. The thing is, you've got to put a disclaimer in it. Tell them. The thing is, you've got to put a disclaimer in it at this point, because it's not like, we don't know what goes into making these things. It's a terribly expensive. We don't know anything about it, honestly. We've got no authority. We've got no reason to be listened to in this way. It's an we're just massive fans of movies, and as fans of movies, we do get to say stuff about the movies. You get to have your opinion. We pay to watch them. So we that much we're allowed to say. Certainly. We can't tell people how to make movies, but we can at least express adulation or displeasure. Sure. Well, I'll tell you what I would never do is I would never ever tag that Zack Snyder if he was on Twitter in a tweet and say, mate, that was shit, you did a bad job. And next, that's equivalent to going up to him in a pub and saying, mate, you're shit at your job, and he obviously isn't. He's an incredibly talented guy, fantastic, and all these, they've done shit tons more than I've ever done in a million years. Deserve respect, absolutely, but it was mainly the way they did Superman that just really rubbed me the wrong way. Whatever conflagration of circumstances went into that, like studio pressure, whatever the heck, someone along the line should have just, what kind of Superman are we delivering to these people? Yeah, and that's my, I got you there. So there isn't I can say on Superman on there. Yeah, on that. There you go. We're agreeing hard. Batman versus Superman. Okay, we're right. I really need to get out my frustrations on it, because as I've mentioned a few times, it's not a perfect film. It was a very flawed movie. Even though I went to the cinema and I enjoyed what I saw, I could tell just by watching it, even as an amateur, that there were some poor editing choices in this film, to a point where there were like things that seemed so convoluted that they just didn't make sense, and I think, as I said with the Ghostbusters, new Ghostbusters, there were just bits where that you just wouldn't put in a movie. No. movie.
Oh, we're talking Batman versus Superman. Don't get off subject, because like, oh, you're saying it's good? Oh, well, that's it then. Nothing left to say.
Sorry, go on. I didn't try to say Batman versus Superman.
No, well, it just seemed like there was bits in it where, like, you could have left that out. Why'd you leave that in, kind of thing. And there was bits where it's like, that seems like there was something that should have been explained before that wasn't. I couldn't understand what it was, and then almost immediately after coming home from the cinema, after having enjoyed the movie, as I said before, I almost immediately read up that there was supposed to have been a longer cut of it. And I was like, that's cool, I would like to see that. And then I ultimately saw the Ultimate Edition, and it fixed many of the problems that I had with it personally, as a film in itself. For instance, there was a hell of a lot more of Superman being Superman, as you would expect Superman to be, albeit I was just like, it's so
I wish
difficult.
people liked me, I guess.
It's so difficult having ultimate power. Human condition, mate. You know, not everybody's gonna like you. Get over yourself.
Do you know what? I like that. I mean, it's not as if that's you can't have that in a Superman story.
No, exactly.
That goes to Smallville.
But they were playing on it so much more than the other aspects of Superman that they should have been doing it.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, Smallville, but Smallville was him growing up.
Exactly.
And it was
that's where he's
gonna be.
That's
like
when you're getting into the issue of like the only interesting thing about Superman is how he becomes Superman.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
But once
there,
exactly, and there is nothing wrong with like him having doubts, and we actually seeing the sort of more human side of a Kryptonian. But they played on it so much, even in the extended cut of it, that it just starts to get annoying. But there are so many bits, like for instance, the Congress building or whatever it is. They go for that meeting, it explodes. He's gone. In the Ultimate Cut, he hangs around for what seems like, because there's no timeline on it, but it seems like he hangs around for a good hour and a half, 2 hours afterwards, taking people from the rubble and landing them. And you get the like fire crews and ambulance people going, look, we're alright, we've got these people now, you can leave it, sort of thing, and being a bit funny with him. And he sort of looks into the crowd at Lois, and Lois is like, you know, I want to talk to you, but we're not supposed to be involved, kind of thing. But there's more going on there that I'm not even sure I understand. And he's looking at her as if to go, what the f*** am I supposed to do? You know, because like these people don't trust me, even though I've just tried to save all these people from an explosion that blatantly wasn't my fault, although no one else in the room was living. And there's just this nice little moment where the sort of, you know, emo Superman is legitimate, where he's trying to help and people are still not trusting him, and he sort of stands there with not this but like a
doing my best there, guys.
Frustration, you know, what can I do? And then he flies away. And that's a moment, that's a character moment that's like, it makes sense, and it brings more validity to later scenes, like for instance, he starts to throw himself headlong into investigating Batman, and you don't see any of that in the original cut, on the theatrical cut I should say. But the Ultimate Cut, you have him essentially trolling around Gotham and just trying to find out more about Batman and why he's being so vicious. Because obviously at this point in the timeline, Batman's been around for like 20, 30 years or something like that. And he's trying to figure out why he's branding people, why he's kicking the f*** out of people that he'd normally just tie up and get arrested, you know. And he's asking people, you know, what's going on and why, you know, and there's people going, oh, he's dangerous, he's can kill everyone and all the rest of it, and then the odd person comes out and goes, no, you have nought to fear with Batman unless you're on the wrong side of the law, kind of thing. And he's there taking notes, being a journalist, being Clark Kent. He's being Clark Kent.
He's doing that as Clark Kent.
Yeah,
Superman doesn't get notes. That's interesting.
Yeah, I keep this in my I don't have a belt in this version. Oh, my underpants. Where have my underpants gone? Anyway, he's taking notes and he's being Clark Kent. He's being a journalist, and he's getting knackered from Perry for not doing what he's supposed to be doing. He gets knackered in the other one, but you don't see him not doing his job either. So he's getting knackered for no reason in that film. There's that. There's extra. There's more cuts in the fight scenes. There's more There's more story. For instance, the woman that accuses him of burning up her entire village breaks her way back into that Holly Hunter's office, and I lied to you, basically. I told you everything I said was not true. Also, you find out that the bomb wheelchair was lead-lined. Although, knowing Superman's, past, you know he can't see through lead, so he never knew it was there. Sure. But they haven't actually established that in Man of Steel, or in this continuity. So it's one of those weird meta moments.
It bugs me when you, especially rebooted films, rely on past that reboot knowledge to make things. That is a frustration. It's
really weird that they did that, because they even explain it. She speaks to what has been alluded to as might be Barbara Gordon, who was cut out of the film entirely. True. She finds out that the bullets that were used on the victims at the beginning of the film were made by Lex Luthor's company, which directly ties him into it. She's going around finding out why Lex Luthor is actually pitting them two against each other. He's going around trying to figure out why Batman's being such a dick. And Batman's just in the cave going, absolute kill, kind of thing, like he, because for reasons. Absolute certainty. I just love it when Ben Affleck says that, because his cheeks wobble. Anyway, that's all going on. And Barbara Gordon, if it is Barbara Gordon, it's been said that it is her. Says on, I don't know why they would go to the extent of building such a big bomb and then trying to reduce it at the last minute. She said, what do you mean? He said, well, it was lined with lead. And she goes, he couldn't see it.
My God.
He couldn't see it. And it was so you're telling us right there that he can't see through lead in that moment. For those people that have never seen Christopher Reeve's Superman, for those people that have never seen Smallville, or ever read a comic book, right there, that's how we're explaining it.
Was that not in it? The actual original
cut? Was not in the original cut. The idea that it was lead lined, or that he couldn't see the bomb in the first place, was I was afraid I couldn't see it because I wasn't looking, he said. And it was after that moment, it wasn't that he couldn't see it because he wasn't looking for it, which is stupid. Because as a human, if something catches your eye, you go, oh shit, what's that? He's Superman. He'd acknowledge there's a bomb in there. He'd fly the guy out there, even in his reckless Man of Steel state. He'd have bashed the guy through the wall out into the crowd, probably. I don't know.
But it sort of proves how hard it is to, I guess, write for Superman, because he is so massively overpowered that, I mean, we've seen stuff in X-Men, where Quicksilver can razz and just save the people in an instant. And they do that kind of slow motion down at that bomb point, so why couldn't Superman save at least a couple of people? So that's impossibly hard to them to put him into any danger. And then conversely, all they need is a kryptonite bullet and he's dead.
They need to create sort of moral pitfalls for him, rather than emotional.
Well, that said, Superman Returns didn't work out too well, and that was all about emotional turmoil. So, honestly,
I really wish that I could have brought myself to really shout in your face, fuck you, that moment. Kevin Spacey, well done, sir.
I'm trying to think of the equivalent in the original Christopher Reeve one. There'll be one, and it's this capturing the sort of innocence of Superman, and that Wonder Woman had in spades, and that it was nowhere in Man of Steel, and it was nowhere in Batman vs Superman. It's where in Superman Returns, just ignore the rest of it, but Lex Luthor has again tricked Superman onto his kryptonite building right at the end. And he kicks him down some stairs.
And
all his henchmen pile in and start kicking him around. Now that he's injured, now he can't fight back. They're all Billy Big Bullets kicking Superman. And Superman's like, and even then he can tell he's upset and he's sad and he's hurting from radiation, but he still doesn't have a sense of hatred in his heart. He can't understand. His mind can't compute why anyone's evil in the first place. He can't understand why these people are kicking him in. He's like, I just want. You can obviously see in his eyes. I just want to help you. And I think that bit that you mentioned earlier about Superman, where he rocks up at the start and he's mad at people. He's an angry Superman. He's angry at the world for some reason. And even that wasn't my biggest problem with it. I just love that moment.
It's like that moment of him getting told to back off by the paramedics. Instead of, you can tell he's frustrated because he's got that attitude of, we're all in this together trying to help these people, and that guy's pushing him away. And
that does sound
the frustration, you can tell in his face that the frustration is it doesn't necessarily make him angry. He just sort of goes, Do you know what I mean? Like in a very Henry Cavill kind of way.
I know that is an expression you see a lot.
And he just takes off. But so I think what we're sort of saying is a lot got taken out of it that connect the dots and make motivations a bit. Yeah.
Well, it's
still by no means a perfect film.
Well, accepting
it's still
all
got
that,
its flaws.
I haven't seen his ultimate cut, so I don't like director's cuts to an extent. We might come on to that later. But for all of that, those connect the dots. The thing at the heart of it, I think, and the bit that meant when the fight came around, I wasn't invested in it.
Yeah.
Was simply because, and tell me if I got this wrong, is that Batman's got every right to be, wary of Superman, because he was there right in the mix when Metropolis was getting destroyed. People he knew died in that.
But it was him destroying it as well.
It was, so you can take that as read. But you can say that Superman, if you want to go down the whole route of he's not quite fully formed yet, he's not quite got his Superman head on or whatever, but let's just say he was trying to save people, but he ended up destroying stuff. And that's kind of the thread, that's what we see in early Batman vs Superman. Superman's like, supposed to be doing his best, but sometimes stuff goes wrong, and he's also got a campaign of people trying to turn, Lex Luthor trying to turn the world against Superman and whatnot. So he does fine. But Batman, and again he got into this kind of, the Batman I know, but the Batman we know wouldn't go after him and try and kill him.
Nolan's Batman wouldn't.
Well, I think
but that's the problem, is that it's like this close, isn't it? But then it's from the end of the Nolan trilogy to the beginning of Batman in the new new universe they're bringing together. Yeah. It's like a matter of years, a couple of years, and it's so f***ing close together. If they're going to do something so radically different, people aren't necessarily going to take it.
I need a reason for it. I need a reason that Batman is now suddenly up for murdering someone.
I'm used to it.
And if that's not there, if that's not there in the extended cut, then extended cut can get knotted as well. Because that's the crux of it. Because that's the crux of why he wants to kill him.
It's alluded to a little bit more than it was in the original, with conversations with Alfred. He speaks to him a lot more about how long they've been doing it and watching the good guys turn evil and so on, and then what are they if not? And Alfred has a go at him about it as well.
I remember telling my friend about this. It's like, right, I kind of buy this if we're led to believe, we're given a good reason for it, we're on board with a Superman, a Batman that is absolutely murderous and that is so messed up like that. But I'll never ever buy that Alfred will go along with it. Yeah. Because Alfred is linked to his parents to keep him grounded in that way and say, what would your father think of this? And it's this whole thing at the back of it is, as soon as Batman kills someone, he's no better than the people he's killing.
Exactly.
That's the whole thing. And if that hasn't got a way out of it, then it invalidates the whole thing.
He does the sort of thing that you would actually expect Alfred to do in that situation, where he makes it very clear that he's not happy with the methods in which justice is being served.
Sure.
But he does it in a way where it's not just a sarky comment like previous Alfreds might have made, lift a bloody log, or it's supposed to be cold, sir.
You're not supposed to kill them, sir.
It's like,
it's not just like you wouldn't.
It's like,
surely can't just go, I disapprove of this.
But
I'll keep helping you out.
Jeremy Irons just does it really well, and he's got this sort of like, I'm not angry with you, I'm just disappointed. Do you know what I mean? And you can sort of tell Affleck's like, I'm sorry, Dad, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway, and maybe not tell you about it. There's a conflict going on with Ben Affleck's character a little bit more in the longer cut than the original. Okay. Because Alfred, disapproves of the methods that he's taking, because he's trying to basically convince a dude that is just like one single-minded and full of rage that maybe he's going down the wrong path. And you never listen to someone in that situation yourself. Like when people told you that something was going to happen if you didn't stop doing the thing, you didn't stop doing the thing until that thing happened.
Definitely,
and that's exactly the sort of feeling you get, that like, okay, he's human, and he's got himself to a point where he's starting to go loopy, quite frankly, because of past, the past that you don't know about.
Fair enough.
Which is the thing that frustrates me.
Am I rooting for him, or am I not rooting for him at that point? Because I don't like him at all.
I know.
He's been unreasonable. He's been quite brutal.
Yeah.
With Superman, who again was supposed to. I'm trying to think that he's a good guy. So I don't want to see him get brutalised in this horrible way. Yeah. But I'm not rooting for him either, because he's all over the shop. And all he has to do is just stand there still while Batman suits him and go, I need to talk to you, Batman. Could we just have a word, please? Can we just please have a talk to... What's happened is, Lex Luthor's done this. If we could just stop shooting me for Batman, please. Oh no, let's fight for 15 minutes.
No, I agree totally. I don't like that fight. I don't think that fight should ever have happened. I don't think it should have got to that point, because people are not that stupid. No matter how single bloody minded you are, if a super being comes up to you, whether you're wearing your fancy armour or not, and stands there while you try and kick him to death to no avail, and tells you outright, he's got me mum.
Yeah, mum. He's got me mum.
He's got me mum.
He's got me mum.
I need help. If I don't kill you, then he's going to kill me mum. You know, he could have just said that straight away.
It's a weak fulcrum.
Exactly.
I know you've got to suspend a lot of disbelief for any of it, but that was just a step too far.
Exactly.
It feels like being such niggly lamoids.
No, because you're watching a Superman film where a dude can fly around, yes, but he can also communicate like a human, and people can talk, and that's what you're supposed to not believe, that he wouldn't have a conversation. We're supposed to suspend disbelief in stupidity between the world's greatest detective and a man with super intelligence. It's a shame. Need I say more? That does annoy me. And like I said, it should have been Batman and Superman, and they should have came to odds. They should have maybe had a massive disagreement and had a shouting match even, until it was made obvious what was going on. And then we've got the fight at the end with Wonder Woman and the poorly executed villain.
But I mean, the draw was like Batman's going to fight Superman, and it's not like that's an impossible thing to set up, as you've seen in Dark Knight Returns.
The draw should have been, for the first time in fucking history on the big screen, Batman is going to share the screen with Superman. That in itself was the pull. Come on,
I don't know.
Christopher Reeve never hung out with fucking Adam West. You know, like.
No,
fucking Michael Keaton never hung out with Brandon bloody Ralph or whatever his fucking name was. I can't remember what his name is.
No.
You know, those films never crossed over. They never were on the same thing. It should have been. That should have been enough. But they made this convoluted, we'll make them fight scenario, which is the core of the movie. The
shamblingly pushing them together.
Yeah, exactly. And all they had to do was just not have them fight and have them actually speak to each other at some point.
Can't get on board with this.
And then Lex Luthor turns out to be the actual villain, which he was in the first place. He creates that huge monstrosity. They didn't necessarily have to be Bastard Doomsday, but they had to do the Doomsday thing, which really pissed me off. But anyway, that's a different matter.
Riddle me this then. In comics, right?
Riddle me this.
In superhero comics, in superhero team-ups, how does it always go?
They literally go, like, Superman lands and goes, I need your help, Bruce. And he goes, alright.
No, they don't. In every single team up, Spider-Man and Daredevil, whoever the flip, you got one hero doing something, and then they run, their path intersects with another hero, trying to do their own thing, and they fight. Then they say, actually we've got they've got a common enemy here. We'll team up. They never just rock up and go, hey dude, let's team up.
Do you know
let's have a chat.
Like,
do you want tea?
All honesty,
I know you like Earl Grey, but I've only got mint. And I was like, well, I'm having green tea now. But okay, mint, fair enough.
You're making me
let's
want
go fight Lex Luthor.
Right.
That's what you're suggesting.
Here's the thing.
They do have to fight.
No. Here's the thing, right? You brought up an example which, for instance, was a Marvel comic. And they always do that. I'm right with you on that. Every instance, it might be different in other DC properties, but one thing I do know for definite is that every time Superman racks up and says, I need your help, Bruce, he either goes, alright, I'll help you, or just leave me alone, will you? And that's it. Yeah, honestly, Batman gets pissed off with Superman and goes, just piss off, Clark.
I know, but conflict
just leave me alone.
In a standalone thing.
That's the biggest conflict they have. They only fought once, and that was called Dark Knight Returns.
And
there was a reason for that.
Zillion times. Come on.
No, only about honestly. Honestly,
I've seen.
They've only fought.
Don't embarrass yourself with this, because I'll send you I'll do a video with picture after picture of Batman punching Superman with kryptonite knuckles, 1,000 different variations of them over the years.
Yeah, but then that was the one punch.
Oh, come on.
Honestly, it was a one. Wager. It's only ever been either he takes him down to stop him being a total crazy bastard, or
sad to see.
Honestly, it's only been like a one-punch scenario, and it's been an ideological battle all the way through the thing.
0.5%.
No, you have not.
Of 0.5% of 0.5% of all Superman or Batman comics, and I've seen them fight
so right,
about 20 times.
You've looked at a panel where
they're fighting,
where two punches were
What's what you're saying now? So what constitutes a fight then?
More than two punches.
More than two punches. So I've got to find an instance where
at least
to prove that they're fighting.
2 punches. Like, give me a scenario where they have like a 15-minute fight.
15 minutes it's got to be now. I thought it was more than 3 punches.
I'm asking,
how does time pass in a comic?
Oh, for Christ's sake, dude.
No, I mean you're like, putting some like weird. I'm saying
this scenario where they actually fight properly for at least a few, like an actual fight. An actual fight, not just a punch, not just a couple of punches. Like, I don't like you anymore. Bang.
That's a fight, though, isn't it?
No, it's I don't like you anymore. I'm going to knock you out.
Just getting to the semantics of what isn't a fight.
That means I've been in about 50 fights in my entire life.
Well, I've been knocked out
so many times, right?
Well, I'm not loving not a fight.
Yes, same.
But I know when I see one. Fighting. Alright, well, just park that then.
Christ.
Honestly, disagree.
Right. Okay.
Does it count if, I suppose it doesn't count if Superman's under the control of some kind of mind or substance. Both have got to be in their right minds and are fighting. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah, because there's been numerous times when Superman's been under the influence of something, whether it's mind control or like the different colours of kryptonite that makes him go nuts.
Okay, so for discounting that, it's probably fewer, but it's still
there's been very rarely where Clark Kent has been... Like, no, I said rarely. Okay. Like I said, there's only been about three
there was one
massive
check the
conflicts.
Video, you said one. Do you mean
I said 3, but you were rambling on.
Oh, check that video. You were like once.
I will check.
I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, you will.
Please continue. Sorry, Ian. So park that then.
Yeah, so, we'll move on. You were saying how you didn't like the director's cuts, but I happen to know that you're a massive fan of the extended Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
As am I. So we have nothing to argue on that. But does that not make you a hypocrite?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'm one of those people that I don't mind being called out as being a hypocrite, but I will defend.
Oh, it's a question.
I think part of my point is, part of my point on director's cuts is, I think you mentioned before about how the studio pressure to make a film in a certain amount of time. Is that alright? So it's got to be this running order because
for butts on seats and popcorn sales, I'm guessing.
It can't be more than what.
They like no more than 2.5 hours. 2 hours if they can get away with it, because that means that you can show the film in that very same cinema room however many times through the day, and if there's half an hour more, then that's at least 1 or maybe 2 showings per day less. So less tickets sold, less food bought and purchased at cinemas. Cinemas themselves put pressure on studios to make them that thing for the sales.
So that's like widespread thing.
Yeah, it's generally why we end up with director's cuts, unfortunately, because it would be really nice to just have seen. I can't think of an example. For instance, back in the day when Aliens came out, it would have been nice to have seen that special edition that came out on VHS because Cameron wasn't happy. I don't think anybody would have complained that they were there for an extra 20 minutes. It was an enjoyable movie, and those extra bits helped.
I suppose what I'd say is, if that's well known, I'd say if you're a director and you're making a film and you can't fit it into that time frame, that's your job, though, isn't it? You make it work. People have made it work before you. People are going to make it work after you. If your film doesn't work without a 3-hour extended cut, then you failed as a modern popcorn film director.
And Peter Jackson, though,
we'll get onto that.
If he was ever told to make that, like, just make it a 2.5-hour movie,
it's a slightly different thing.
You know,
it's a slightly different thing. I know you can say that, but again, there's this idea
of faith by the studio and the cinemas to take him at that and say, like, okay, we'll trust you, it will work.
Yeah. But that's an extraordinary subject material. It's all there, and it's a case of cutting away something.
Even a studio, you know the types, the suits are not going to take in. They're not going to take into account the art of it, are they? And we have to include this scene because it was so pivotal in the book and people love it. No, popcorn movie. Seats, bums on seats, sales. So they went with it, and that, as you said, it was an extraordinary set of circumstances. But if he can do it, why can't other people? Since that happened 10 years ago, we should have been getting 4-hour movies. Or, obviously not, but you know what I mean. It shouldn't be a problem anymore. I don't understand why. Because Batman vs Superman was cut, for instance. I don't understand why that happened.
Just no one does want to go and see a film for 3 hours. That is too long. And it's just, Lord of the Rings is like a massive aberration where there is enough source material but it just make the money off selling the...
Well, exactly, but there was enough people that know the source material to go see it. right?
The original cuts
Who
worked.
doesn't know Batman and Superman?
The original cuts worked in those Lord of the Rings
cinematic,
ones.
yeah,
in the cinematic, and yes, they were long, but you should be able to do it. Is my point. It should work on its own.
It should. No, I agree. I do agree to an extent, but I don't understand that after Lord of the Rings set precedent, even at its theatrical running time, it still set a precedent. It still lauded it over any length of any movie that had come previous, really, especially cinematically released, theatrically released, rather. Why did that not set precedent? Why did other movies not follow suit? With subject matter like Batman and Superman, that are so very, very well known and widely... Studios have made shitloads of money out of these properties. Why aren't their directors, whatever, allowed to just make a long movie? They could have made that make sense.
Yeah,
they could have made that whole movie make sense.
Fair enough to an extent. But one of my overriding beliefs is the more you take away from stuff, often what remains brings in a life. And if you're trying to make something, limitations are good because you can push them if you know what you're working to.
Yeah.
So if you're like, right, we've got 2 hours. Whatever's in this, we have to make work. And you hear about in the Aliens, you don't need to see Newt's family finding the ship. It's not essential. If your film is like shabbily edited, and essential bits are taken out, then that's a failure on the director and the editor's part, surely.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Case in point, Suicide Squad.
Loads of
There is apparently a version of that film that was handed into the studio by whoever the f***ing director, writer guy was, that apparently will never see the light of day, because it was immediately then given to the company that did the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer.
Sure.
And they essentially butchered it and turned it into a really bad music video, especially at the beginning. And it was just like really badly set up, really badly edited, total shambles, mess, rubbish. Unfortunate.
If you're trying to sort of show your kid it or something, just have the one version. This is the version. And I tell you what, like a defense for like Peter Jackson, it's better when he's taking stuff away rather than padding stuff out. Like, so the extended versions of The Hobbit, there's not enough story there for one film. There's barely enough there in the entire Hobbit saga for one film. Yeah, let alone extended versions times 3. I
didn't understand when I heard that there was going to be 3 of them.
What's that?
Well, I know, obviously, trilogies are hot, but
then again, stretching stuff out.
Why not do just one really good long movie? I didn't understand it. Like a 4-hour movie would have been nice. Awesome, and they would have got away with it because Peter Jackson set precedent.
Yeah, well, these stocks fallen slightly because they weren't good, were they? I was starting to feel like a sickening feeling inside that I'm being like hard and bitchy about people who work incredibly hard on things. I'm starting to feel uneasy.
Yeah, but you paid to go see these things, dude.
I paid to go and see them.
You deserve to have an opinion on it.
Yeah. So being at Peter Jackson there in a pub, I'd be like, mate, you are God yourself. So I've watched Lord of the Rings over and over and over again. And if people enjoy The Hobbit, fair play to them. Yeah, you're right. Just don't like being overly negative in a permanent way.
Yeah.
The director cuts. It's more like this. It's just a diffusion of the version. It's like I've got this sort of just a love for things to just have their place, and almost like a time capsule for posterity.
Yeah,
when you're looking when you're in the future.
That's my argument for not cutting the film in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's kind of.
And I'd rather have just one version of a movie.
It'd be nice. Don't get me wrong. But you're always going to be like this tension between the people who are making the thing, the people who are paying for the thing.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, we have to be this because that's the way we are now. We have to remake stuff over and over again. We have to make money because we can't take any chances.
Oh God, reboots.
The instances.
We'll be right back with reboots.